really know what's going on over there other than everybody's dumb.
The instant you step out of line, you say something that they don't like and they don't like you personally, they're going to use all those pre-existing laws and they're going to use it on you.
Woman exposed her male genitalia to women and underage girls. That's what happened.
It's pure propaganda and it's super cringe, by the way. It's super cringe.
Eric Butler, Michael Ridley's Look Upon Your Face. I believe that's, what song is that again? I don't remember.
I don't know what you're talking about.
RASPCT maybe? We're back on UnAuthorizedOpinions.com or UOPod.com, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Asian guy in the middle. His name is Michael Ridley. He's back for the second time. We love to have him. How you been, man?
I'm good. I just got paid $200 to do 30 minutes in front of 6 people last night.
And that's comedy, I assume?
Yeah, I did 30 minutes.
Was it strip?
I did 30 minutes of stand-up for 6 black people last night, and they loved me. They loved me.
Add 2 more to the list on this podcast. Eric, how are you?
Oh, living the dream. Still hot. Still more than 100 degrees in this little suburban town, but not too bad. No other complaints besides melting here. Can't complain.
It's been disgusting a bit here. I'd imagine it was like 110 the other day, America measurements, and it was disgusting. First time I had to turn my car's AC up to 3, so that's a landmark for me. Going through some internal battles about Taco Bell with their transgender commercials, and it's difficult being me these days. But I do have my Justin Bieber fanny pack that I said didn't exist. I didn't think it existed.
Wait, hold on. Go back. Did I miss the story about Taco Bell transgender commercials?
Oh, yeah. There's a Taco Bell commercial where they have 2 lesbians doing what looks like a seance because they have candles all around them and they're sitting in a circle and kissing with tacos for some reason. And then a trans guy, like a guy who's dressed as a woman, dancing and going like this and changing outfits while also eating like a gordita crunch or something. Not sure what this has to do with tacos, but
it's actually my Pornhub history compiled into an advertisement.
Lesbians, trans, and cheesy gordita crunch. What are you, Hunter Biden?
Hell yeah, dude.
Chalupas.
It's all good.
Cheesy
I've been going to the same
gordita.
Taco Bell for most of my life. And you can tell that this next generation of fast food workers they don't have the work ethics of the Gen Xers that used to serve me when I was a kid.
Can I just say,
so slow now.
The last time I went to Taco Bell, it was delicious. No shade for Taco Bell, but they have signs. They have signs all over the place. Now hiring $15 per hour. Please pardon the wait. Like they have all these signs about how they're understaffed, and I sat in the drive-through for like half an hour. So
yes,
I guess that's. I don't know if that's good or bad. I guess that's bad, right? Like,
yeah,
we don't have enough.
People are being paid to stay home.
People are still that should be over.
Well, how are they staying home then?
I don't
Michael
know,
Ridley's
man.
performing in front of upwards of 6 African Americans. You should be
Hell
too.
yeah.
And by the way,
bringing your
those
Taco Bell.
the Taco Bell employees were mostly white. I mean, from what I could
here,
see,
it's Indian people.
Okay, doesn't
from
matter.
India.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
We don't have Mexican pizza. Okay, we ran out of the stuff to make it. Yeah, bullshit, dude. It's fucking all 4 ingredients, just in a different fucking. It's the same 4 ingredients in a different configuration, dude. You're just making a crunch wrap without the fucking outer one, dude. It's just that's all a Mexican pizza is. It's just a crunch wrap that is like circumcised.
Do they have their?
They ran out of here. They ran out of everything, all the sauces, but mild for some reason. That's what the shortage was here.
Do they have
Canadians? They're like, oh, this is really hot. Hey, this is hot as fuck. Why do they call this mild? Those Americans are crazy.
Do they have
Mexican Americans down there?
A Canadian Taco Bell, like didn't you say, was it Wendy's or McDonald's or something that has the the poutine, so they have Canadian
Oh,
friendly.
everywhere has poutine, no matter what place it is. Wendy's
Not
has
Taco Bell. Not Taco Bell.
no, because they have a fry supreme, but which is very popular in Canada. But Wendy's has poutine, McDonald's, every single fast food place has their poutine. And I don't know about you guys, but now this is a very political show, and now every place is releasing a Nashville something, a Nashville sandwich, a Nashville sauce. This is just a new thing here. Everything Nashville barbecue sauce.
You bite into it, you instantly start saying the N-word.
It's not even that good. Like, it's supposed to be kind of hot and kind of something, but it just tastes like all other barbecue sauces.
Southern sweetness.
The
brother.
Nashville hot chicken. I know before we get away from the Nashville stuff, I worked at a restaurant in Brooklyn many years ago, and they too had a Nashville chicken. So that's fact check true on that. That's all.
All right. Well, good thing we didn't lie about that. TikTok star, and I'm glad we saved this story for Michael. TikTok star says she was turned away from a horse ranch and mocked because of her weight. Did the horse mocker? Remy Bader, TikTok store known for a realistic clothing haul. This is another thing. This girl's job is a realistic clothing haul. So she's just trying on regular clothes.
As compared to a fake clothing haul?
What does that even mean?
I guess it's supposed to mean that when other women do clothing hauls.
It's fat girl clothes.
Exactly.
So realistic just means like we're using the word realistic as if it's based off a world where being super chunky is not
okay.
The reality is everyone's fat.
Okay. I get it.
Exactly. She claimed during a recent trip with other influencers, a ranch wouldn't allow her to ride their horses due to her weight. Like, do you think they're just going to not allow, like, no, let's just pick on this one girl because she's kind of fat. We won't let her ride the horse. We'll tell her it's for the horse's safety. Of course, it's just so, like, they don't want to hurt the horses. Like, sorry. Bader, who has more than 2 million followers on TikTok, was in Montauk, New York, with other influencers on a trip organized by the company Hampton Water Wine over the weekend when she said she was turned away. Her initial TikTok post on Saturday, obviously we have to queue that up in a new tab. Bader shared a video of the ranch with the text over it saying, "Shout out to Deep Hollow Ranch in Montauk for making me leave because I weigh over 240 pounds.
You simply cannot hop. Imagine if Jordan Peterson's like at the front gate and he's like, you simply cannot hop on the back of this horse. These horses have evolved over thousands of years. People back then didn't weigh 240 pounds. These horses aren't evolutionarily developed to handle those weight capacities. You're going to literally break the back of the animal." My heart goes out to those poor. I don't know. I listen. I would stay up until like 1 a.m. just watching YouTube reels of Joe Rogan, and always Jordan Peterson just pops up. So I would hear it before I'd go to sleep because I just watch it and scroll and pass out. And it's just, I don't know. It just sounds like it's really easy to do it. It sounds like Shorzy from
no, like Jordan Peterson's like
Shorzy from Letterkenny mixed with like a really nice dad.
It's like he's got the Kermit though. He's got like the Kermit
Kermit. Yeah.
Oh,
shout out Canadian content, Letterkenny. You know.
Well, you can't ride on that. I can't do Jordan Peterson. That was maybe more Irish. I don't know. You can't just ride on that horse. Clean your room.
I can't imagine a world where we let these plus-sized women break the backs of these beautiful animals. It just would break my heart simply to see that you're offended because they told you that their animals have a weight limit. It's as if any ride. Could you?
No.
Imagine if you were going on. It's just like an airplane. It's a form of transportation, and that needs to be sacred and protected. I feel like
if Letterkenny is what is popular in the U.S. from Canada, then that's just perpetuating like hockey bro culture, which is better than some of the other things like throwing people in jail for not letting their children become boys when they're 13. It's this
Orwellian shithole, but you also have like these guys who spit dip and talk shit and preserve the masculinity of your country.
Hopefully. So the guide for the website for this ranch is a rider should not be more than 15% of the horse's weight. There's also a list of options for the best horse breeds for plus size riders. Like Clydesdales, I'm guessing.
That's what I'm saying. She needs to come down to Virginia. We have Clydesdales in Virginia. Got a couple of
I
Budweiser
posted for a
Clydesdales.
reason. I posted for a reason that's not because of me being denied to ride the horses. I get it. Some places have weight requirements, and I'd never want to hurt the horses. But it was the way I was spoken to and laughed at by the owner, and the way I was treated overall.
Can we watch
so
it?
She's saying they laughed at her. Yeah, that was
Hell
the same one I played.
So the clip itself is not very entertaining. It's just her with the little
Oh,
caption
she's just
there.
zooming in and talking shit.
Yeah.
Can we see her?
She didn't.
Can we see her?
It's playing like the Rocky theme right now. That's what you guys are missing.
Oh yes, I did hear that. Dude, I'm sorry. This I'm having technical difficulties here because I can't pair my channel. But sorry. I thought she was actually. I thought she was actually going to be fatter than that. To be honest,
that's what I'm saying. I
That's
feel like there'd be a
240
horse.
pounds.
Was it a
They
pony
probably
ranch
just don't
they
have
went
big
to?
horses. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They
I'm
must
wondering
have
if it was-
like these little bitch-made Spanish horses are like little skinny little
little
Arabian
ponies.
horses. Yeah.
Well, teach their own, I guess. But shout out to Ranch for being like, no, we don't want to hurt your horse. Maybe it's a bit like, do you really think I was like, listen, lady, you're too fucking fat?
No, he probably tried to break it to her. Like they're trying to preserve the fact that like, or they're trying to hide that they have bitch-made horses. I guess like there's like, all right, well, it's a bunch of kids there. It's like it's literally designed for kids, and she's like, I want to be on the horse.
Well, I guess also if she was doing some
like mini horses
with some other influencers, they were probably model thin, like actually hot chicks. So they, that's what I assume.
Linebackerish. She was a little linebackerish.
I mean, she's a big girl. Don't get me wrong, but I thought I hadn't seen the photo of her. I thought I was expecting worse. I guess is the point I'm trying to make. I thought she was going to be a lot bigger. But I don't know what 240 looks like, bro. Like,
so I'm saying I was expecting like a white Lizzo. That's what you just showed me every girl that played field hockey that I went to school with. That was just
man.
Think about that. How much does Lizzo weigh, bro? Because Lizzo's way bigger than that girl,
340,
and she's 240.
She's probably pushing like 380, 400.
Oh my!
She can't even fight like a super heavyweight division.
And of course,
she wanted to.
Lizzo was in the news last week because she changed the lyrics to one of her songs because she had no choice but to capitulate to the cancel culture because she is literally and figuratively one of the biggest cult members. So when a Twitter person came out and said you can't use the word spaz, she used the word spaz, and that's not okay. So she had to backtrack. But I digress. I'm getting off track. We started talking about fat chicks and Lizzo comes up, so I just figured I would mention that old story that she was in. Not old, but like a week ago.
She's in the cult. It's why they had made her have a name close to Lizard.
Exactly. Exactly. Bro.
Eric's gonna like this story because it's his former alma mater, aka just New York. The mayor of New York says this was June 16th. Unbelievable. Isn't that Juneteenth, Eric? I don't know. Is that
Juneteenth is today, you bigot.
I live in
19th.
Canada.
Which is, you should know, you have a black prime minister.
That's true. We actually have our own version. We had like Indigenous Peoples Day is what we came up with instead. But on the day, the prime minister Justin Trudeau made up this day. And on the same day, he just went surfing. Like he didn't go visit any native tribes or he didn't go to any reserves or anything. He just went surfing in British Columbia on the day he made up. And they were outraged about it, to say nonetheless. But Mayor Eric Adams says on apparently not Juneteenth, drag storytellers and the libraries and schools that support them are advancing a love of diversity, personal expression, and literacy that is core to what our city embraces. So I commented, to the untrained eye, they might seem like men in women's clothing, but they're actually the greatest philosophers of our time, it turns out.
I was about to say, I wish comedians got the love and appreciation that drag like people get now. It's crazy. It blows my mind that like growing up, I thought comedians were the smartest fucking people in the world. And now I started doing comedy and that's not true. But You know, I feel like kids are gonna grow up and want to be you know, drag performers. I don't know.
And that's the
I feel
goal.
like
What's wrong with that, Michael?
I don't know. I think you should grow up to become a comedian if you want to learn how to express yourself and use your mind instead of sucking on a dildo in a public library in front of 6-year-olds. You're a bigot, dude. 1 second. I'm about to one-shot this 12-inch horse cock that I got from BD. Just fucking... what do you mean? What's wrong with this? This is the new normal, you bigot.
We're not naked. Well, there was one that came out the other day that was... I sent it to Eric. I don't think we need to show it because it's nudity. But a trans guy, I guess, who's a drag queen, just topless in a bar. And there's like a 3-year-old there sitting on his grandmother's lap.
The rubber
kid to the bar.
The rubber boobs, though, right? Where they're like,
are they? I don't know.
They're like
I want to buy
fake.
some of
They're like
those.
flopping around all over the place.
Yeah,
yeah.
Prop titties.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way, the kid goes up to the kid and he's
Real
got to hold
dicks,
them and
fake
cover them. And the grandma's like, "Oh, that's so funny," and everybody's like, "Oh, this is hilarious that this toddler is subjected to this. Oh, just give them money. It's so nice." But yeah, they're Eric Adams for New York says they're the real heroes. They're just promoting literacy. That's all it's about, actually. And they're really...
I think everybody's okay with this because it comes to a level of cowardice where it's like, if I speak out, then I'm a bad person. So I just kind of have to bow down and go along with this, because if I express that I'm not okay with this, everyone else who's also a coward and won't fucking speak up against it, even though they feel similarly, are also acting on that anxiety and that fear that I will be shown, like the negative light will be on me if I go, hey, this isn't right. Okay, we just need to agree and shut the fuck up. We're wrong.
But how far can we go to the point where it's like you can't talk about something?
People fucking kids. And
yeah, like
there'll be like little
thing.
Woody Allens walking down the street, like holding hands with little Asian girls.
Oh,
and
you can't
like, hey,
say that he
up.
shouldn't be with that 13-year-old. Like that's
yeah,
like
yeah.
the
How
next
dare
thing.
you?
Like if you can,
that's such an antiquated. That's such an antiquated form of looking at love. I mean, it doesn't need to be restricted to gender. We got over that in 2015.
Well, there are people fighting for that.
I know there is, and
that's
why
yeah, there's a professor in a British university, of course. No, it wasn't even British. Sorry, Britain. It was, I want to say Denmark.
Fake news.
Denmark.
I want to say Denmark. I should be fact checked.
For some reason, the child pussy just feels so much better than adult pussy.
It was just one of those
Denmark.
things.
That's a Denmark.
It's just one of those. You're getting canceled for sure. It was one of those situations where it's like, basically, like, yeah, people aren't. They said naturally, some percentage of people are just attracted to children, so we shouldn't have a big of a problem with it. But Eric, thoughts on your best friend of the same name, by the way?
Yeah,
is that a coincidence or not?
Definitely not. There are no coincidences. What does Bannon say? There's no conspiracies, but there's also no coincidences. And I think to your point, Michael, what they're doing is they're just vilifying everybody on everything, and we obviously saw it with Rona, Ukraine, everything. So they will tell you that, well, yeah, of course you have to enjoy this, and it's working. I mean, it's literally working to the point where they never, and that's also why you see them. They never actually will discuss any of the issues that they claim to be so passionate about. We talk about what is a woman. They won't actually ever answer the question. They won't discuss it with you because they know all they have to do is make you feel bad about your opinion. And we saw that with was it Jack Del Rio, one of these football coaches the other day, that said something fairly level-headed about January 6th, and he got fined $100,000 simply for expressing his opinion. And that's where the agenda becomes like hard law. You know what I mean? This guy gets fined $100,000, and I know I'm getting off track a little bit here, but that's what they do. Is like they make it so if you have a differing opinion on anything, I mean, you could walk in lockstep with the cult for everything, gay marriage, wearing a mask, getting the shot, but as soon as you step out of line on one, They will make you out to be the evilest person, and that's their only tactic. They, at least on the right wing, typically what you see is people will say, "Okay, debate me." Right? People, all these right wingers want to debate AOC, and they want to debate Ethan Klein from H3H3, and they want to debate all these people. But on the left, they would never in a million years debate. They will just say, "Well, nope, you are an evil, mean, bad person," and end of story. And Eric Adams is he's such a scumbag, bro. Like, this is the same guy who was having his henchmen, the NYPD, pull kids out of Applebee's. They always, I mean, the projection is so real. They always want to talk about, same thing with Gavin Newsom. Oh, well, the Republicans always talk about freedom, but they're burning books. Meanwhile, you couldn't even go into a restaurant without a Rona paperwork or a shot paperwork or whatever it is. So Eric Adams, and my disdain for Eric Adams goes back a long ways, when he was just a Brooklyn borough president. Because last thing here is, Democrats always fail up. Gavin Newsom destroyed San Francisco. He becomes governor. Eric Adams let Brooklyn turn into, I don't even really know what a borough president does, to be honest with you. But it was under his watch that people were lighting off fireworks through all hours of the night. And he said, well, this isn't about the police. Now, he does claim to be pro-police and pro-law enforcement. Of course, he was a former cop. But during the Summer of Love, he was just as much of defund the police Democrat as any of these people. So this guy's a complete scumbag. I absolutely can't stand him. And it's just so sad to see what's happened to New York, because when they finally got rid of Cuomo, and then Hochul was worse. They finally got rid of de Blasio, and Adams is arguably just as bad. So good luck to that whole the city and the state. I don't know if it's beyond repair. Same thing with California.
I've
and
never want to
this
live
is them.
either of their.
This is them. They triple down on these things. Like, it's Pride Month and Biden is signing executive orders about quote unquote gender affirming care. This is their agenda going into absolute hyperdrive, which I think is a good thing, because that means they're losing and they realize, right? Last thing here, I promise. Biden signed an executive order to make it easier. I'm paraphrasing here, to make it easier for children to get gender affirming care, because bills were being passed in states all across the country that weren't allowing little boys to play girls sports and weren't allowing little boys in the girls locker room. So he's like, we have to fight back against all this legislation. And it's like, you're saying that all these bills are being passed, all these bills are being drafted and proposed. Doesn't that show you that people don't want this? But nope, they will just say those people are all evil and we got to get rid of them. So it's an absolute mess, bro.
Well, I guess it's a case of states' rights. If you want to live in some weird, super high tax, high crime state where the weather's nice and you can children can transition, I guess go ahead, right? But how long will that last? The idea that all these states should separate in some way, I don't know if they want to do like the Louisiana Purchase or something and have a whole swath of states all go together. But I would just, not that I necessarily would support that, I would just be interested to see what the outcome would be in two different extremes. If you had California on its own and let's say Florida on completely on their own, I think they're both on the opposite sides, and see how they do. I mean, California will probably still make a ton of money. I think they have a surplus, right, Eric, every year?
Yeah, apparently they do. And Gavin Newsom is bragging about it. And he's obviously just as much of a scumbag as Hochul or Eric Adams. They're just all, it's just so bizarre to me, bro. Like, how does somebody watch Gavin Newsom? He went out last week and said on Twitter, this is where I pulled the quote about, the Republicans. Gavin Newsom tried to make a meme, by the way. I should have sent this to you. He tried to make a TikTok meme. It was like, Republicans always talk about freedom, but then he he literally cites CNN, the New York Times, Politico, all the craziest left-wing rags that are saying how Republicans don't want children at drag shows and stuff. He's like, this is what freedom means to you. And it's like, dude,
yeah,
you're yes. And bro, just because you make a TikTok, people are not going to forget that you shut down the entire state while you went to French Laundry. You know what I mean? And then the mayor of San Francisco did it the very next night. The next night, she went to the same restaurant while the cities are all locked down. And then they say, well, of course, it was for your health. Nancy Pelosi's out getting her hair done and stuff. So, look, bro, these people trigger me to no end. And it's absolutely astonishing how anybody can be in Gavin Newsom's Instagram Reels comment saying like, oh, like, yes, like, you know, clapping emojis, like, good work, Newsom. It's like, how are you? I mean, the brainwashing is so strong. Like, it's actually astonishing, bro. You kind of got to give it up to them for that. Like, they've controlled these people. Like I always say, once you can convince a certain amount of the population that a man can magically become a woman, you have full control, and they do.
My friend was trying to pull some of the similar stuff on me. My good friend last night when I was talking about possibly thinking about moving to Texas, and he says, "Well, you don't want more freedom. You just want the type of freedom that you agree with." And in a way, I'm just like, yes, but like his argument was like, well, they would have a 6-week abortion bill as opposed to like 20 weeks in some other place. It's like, these are not the things that I consider freedoms. And he goes, well, they don't have casinos. They're only allowed to online gamble. And I'm like, all I want to do is place a bet on some things once in a while. And I'm sorry, I don't want to live in a place where like not that transgenderism is a big impact on my life. I still care about it, but no, I don't think being able to transition a child is a freedom, and I don't think people should have the freedom to do that. I don't think
transgenderism is a big part of your life. It is. It 100% is, and that's why I get so triggered by it, because that is them completely eliminating the reality that we've known. Nobody in the history of man has ever tried to rug pull actual biology. No, people, you could talk about slavery and pyramids and all sorts of cultural changes that have happened. Not once has anybody tried to rug pull man and a woman. It's not real. So it does affect your life. And I'm not ready to cede any ground to this movement that wants me to believe a man can magically turn into a woman if he so thinks it. Now we could talk about gender dysphoria and people who have these weird, these weird conditions or whatever. Fine. That is a tiny little bit of people. We don't need to be running ads. We don't need to be creating brand new industries surrounding chest binders for little girls and stuff. It 100%.
My point was, Eric, that just because some people want to argue that some things are supposed to be freedoms doesn't mean the rest of the world necessarily cares about them. Like California can sit there and counteract, drag queen story time with children in strip clubs bills or child transitioning bills and say they don't believe in freedom because they're not giving children the ability to change genders. My point is, these aren't actual freedoms. You're never going to find any government or any country that started where they have listed this as one of their fundamental freedoms in their legislation,
Andrew
or
is
constitution, or anything like that.
Andrew's basically saying all homeless people need to transition to the opposite gender, and then they'll probably get better treatment in this country, in these major cities.
Well, that's 100% true.
The sad thing is you could literally. I was saying last night, if I was like European or something, I would just try to migrate to a country just at some point in my life. Like you could come to Canada through New York, through the Quebec crossing that's called Roxham Road. You'll get put up at a hotel. You'll get better health care than the average citizen, and you'll get a home and you'll get a salary.
Wow.
And then you can just use that as like for a living. You get, like, depending on how many kids you have, you get a certain amount of money every year. It's like an advanced welfare system. And then you just use that to springboard whatever you want to do as a career. If you're a capable person, which many of them are, and you may be saying, Andrew, these people are just looking to escape a war-torn country. Wrong. We have brought in refugees from Syria and stuff. And whether you agree with that or not, there are people from West Africa and other countries that they fly to New York. They show up at the border. And since they speak French, and Canada has French as a second language, or its other official language, they can work there, and they come in with nice clothes and their luggage, and they're just like, if you cross this border, you'll be arrested. And they're like, okay. They put you in a hotel, they figure out where to put you, and then they do deny people. I'm not going to say that, but that's what I'm saying. You might as well try it. If you're from some country, you might as well try to go to Germany or Sweden or England or Canada and see what you can get, because if the government's so dumb that they're just going to give you free stuff for X amount of years, and then you can either make a career based off of this base level of income and quality of living you have, or you just get sent back to where you came from and you're back at square one anyways. Why not give it a try if Justin Trudeau just wants to blow all his taxpayer money? I mean, the only thing that would be stopping you is your own integrity.
Yeah. Well,
What I'm saying
I
is
don't know,
do
man.
it, you guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe I'll. I don't know. I don't know where to go, bro. I got nowhere to go, so I'm stuck. I gotta pay taxes.
We all do, and that's another thing. I'd like to be able to opt out. This is like, when Peter Griffin starts his own country, that's what I'd like to do. Andronia.
Pretoria.
Yeah, exactly. Some more January 6th stuff, just in time for everything. Magically, the New York Times has up close and personal footage with one of the people from the Proud Boys in a parking garage, just like in HD, while they're planning stuff for January 6th. Hey, listen, do you need a vehicle? Good thing that all their faces are showing and it's well lit. And we talked months and months ago, Eric, about Enrique Tarrio being a former FBI informant. And he's the leader of the Proud Boys. January 6th.
Right? He's
And
not
then
anymore. He's not involved.
And then if you read about the leader of the Oath Keepers, he was in the military. He's got this huge past, and they through all these signal messages where they're planning it 6 months in advance, saying the most like baity things, like if Trump doesn't stop Mike Pence from pushing through the election, then we know it means he wants us to be his personal militia and to overthrow the government. Like the most bait messages you could possibly think of. And these just happen to be the people that they have on camera in HD in a parking garage. And I wanted to transition that to what happened yesterday, or on Friday, excuse me, where Stephen Colbert's crew, who I believe, and before I get sued, I'll say I believe happened was, they went into the Capitol earlier in the day. They got thrown out, and then they snuck in later that night. And the crazy thing about this, you guys, a lot of the things they did, besides the rioting, of course, which people are really charged for because they're charged for going into the Capitol, the people that are in solitary confinement and such, they would be charged with a lot of the same things. And I say would be because obviously the stuff hasn't gone through yet. But they're taking pictures of people's offices. They technically broke in. They're going through, classified materials. They're in there after hours. It's premeditated because they were already kicked out, and they went in there later again after they were denied. So there's already the trespassing aspect of it on top of the federal trespassing, I guess. So they're doing a lot of the same.
This is new. That was like 2 days ago.
Yeah. So they're doing a lot of the same stuff, and I'll be very surprised if they're charged with the same stuff.
But it's the liberal version.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
that's
they'll
why
be
the
allowed
title
to
is
do
Jam
it.
6 Part 2. Capitol Police arrested a group of staffers with CBS's Late Show with Stephen Colbert after they allegedly illegally entered a U.S. House of Representatives office building on Thursday night. The group of 7 people were arrested in Longworth House office building after being escorted earlier from the Jan 6 committee because they did not have proper press credentials. So they got kicked out. They came back secretly later in the night and broke in. Now,
does it say? Does it say? I mean, and maybe you'll get to this, but does it say that they were on assignment for the show, or was this just an independent thing that they decided to do?
That's the trouble. Is they were there in the capacity for Colbert Report earlier in the day. But I'm sure CBS is going to say we did not tell them to go back in. I'm quite confident that's what anybody would say to their credit. You do it, but we're not taking responsibility for it. 7 individuals associated with the show were arrested. Now, the crazy thing is I believe they list the name of the people somewhere in here. Maybe not, but in a different article. You know who one of the people is that went in there? Do you guys recognize the name Robert Smigel?
No.
That's the guy who plays Triumph, the insult comic dog.
Oh, I did hear that. I read that.
He's one of the guys that got arrested.
I read that in another article.
He has the puppet with him. What do you mean? I'm just here.
For you to poop on. Yeah. This.
The team could have been in the office building because they were invited, which they were. Fox News is told that Colbert's team conducted interviews earlier on Thursday with House committee members, the whole January 6th thing.
Adam Schiff. Oh, jeez.
They were schooled away and left the House building after they were spotted because I guess they weren't invited. At some point, they were let back in sometime after 4 p.m. 4 p.m. by an aide to Ochenkloss. I don't know who that is. And were unattended for several hours, sources tell. So my point is, besides this being very strange, as so much of it is parallel with the January 6th stuff. Of course, they didn't, have this whole thing outside, but people aren't really charged with that. I'm sure some people were, but the people being held for so long are charged for going in, taking pictures of stuff they're not supposed to be, trespassing on federal property, stuff like that. But what it sounds like is the Stephen Colbert staff were let in. A lot of people were let in on January 6th. They went around and took pictures of stuff they weren't supposed to. Same stuff. Went into people's offices they weren't supposed to, which is big crimes as well. And they were already told that they can't be there, which is, the usual basis for trespassing. You can walk into some place if somebody just lets you in or nobody says anything. But once you're told you can't be there, then it's trespassing. And on top of the obvious federal trespassing, I think it is when you go into like a Capitol building uninvited.
And this was
Eric, immediate
and this was this was only a week or so after they did their whole little Muppet shtick about January 6th. Is that? I mean,
yeah, of course, which is funny.
Yeah, so they just did this whole thing. They're clear. Look, nothing will happen to these people. We can almost guarantee that, right? Like they will barely even. I don't even see a slap on the wrist happening here. Look, maybe they did nothing wrong. I don't know. Trespassing, they can get a little ticket, $50, $100 fine or whatever. But it's a little bit strange that they went out of their way to do their whole Muppet thing, and now they're just so obsessed. I mean, it truly is. They really are deranged. They're so twisted. Like they live in this alternate reality where it's so clearly a two-tier justice system, right? I mean, you can attempt to the guy who attempted to kidnap and or assassinate Justice Brett Kavanaugh barely gets any coverage, but some guys who show up at a drag queen story hour in the Bay Area, it's immediately a hate crime investigation. And I want to say really quickly about the footage of Enrique Tarrio in that parking garage or whatever it is. It totally reminds me of when they raided Roger Stone's house. Do you remember that a year or so ago when CNN just happened to be there? Like, and then correct me if I'm wrong, maybe somebody could fact check me, but I do think that CNN admitted to getting a tip like directly from the FBI or something so that they could be there at 5 a.m. when they showed up at Roger Stone's door. So this kind of feels like that. It's like, wait, so somebody who was already investigating Tarrio, or because Tarrio is already a Fed, or he already works for the FBI or something. So he tipped them off, and that's how they got this beautiful 4K footage and in what otherwise would be this dark parking lot. You wouldn't be able to see anything. So I don't know, man. None of this really adds up. But again, this is just them being completely desperate for anything. Nobody's even paying attention. You can look at any ratings television rating site. Nobody's even watching the January 6th stuff because the people who are in the cult, they don't really care. They don't know what's going on. They're not well informed. And then the people who think January 6th was really nothing to worry about, they're not watching it either. So it's I guess kind of like monkeypox almost. Like they threw it out there, but it didn't really land. So they just kind of like, all right, well, we're gonna kind of half-ass it a little bit. And dude,
in the video
I grow
there,
so tired of this.
That other guy is the guy from the Oath Keepers. What was his name there? It was Stuart Rhodes, and many people believe he is a Fed too. He's had, tons of interactions with them over the years. There's a huge Revolver News article on it that's pages and pages long. It's very odd and interesting at the same time. And they're getting together and they're planning stuff for January 6th. And these people, more than likely, in my opinion, work for the U.S. government.
But it wasn't
an unnamed person has HD video standing next to them, probably because he's another informant.
But this wasn't this wasn't an erection, as Chuck Schumer would say, because your guy still won, right? To like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys could correct me on this, but it's not like nothing. You didn't. Nothing was accomplished, so it wasn't really an insurrection.
Any
It was
thoughts,
just
Michael,
riot.
on Jan 6 Part 2 now?
I don't know, man. I think it's weird. I think it's weird that like certain people can do certain things and other people can't do other things. It just boils down to what your political affiliation is and what people are going to allow to happen. I don't even know how serious of the whole late show people going in there. I don't even really know what the fuck they could be doing or what their interest would be, but I know they wouldn't be met with the same amount of repercussions. I mean, one group of people is like a bunch of QAnon people who are like, we're going to do some revolutionary shit. Oh no, now we all look racist. And a lady died. And the other people are just like, Hollywood entertainment.
They get to do whatever they want.
Pretty much. I mean, it doesn't really. They rule the world. All these media outlets, all these people, they rule the world. It's all manipulation. I mean, I've learned this.
Simulation.
Dude, I learned all this shit at a young age. I just was like, man, I don't trust this shit. Like 13-year-old me was like, this shit doesn't make sense. Like I just started paying attention to shit. And after a while, I kind of desensitized myself from caring so much. And I just tell jokes and be a fat Asian that gets white pussy. And I'm just going to ride this out for the rest of my existence. And whatever happens afterwards is on the young people that are probably right now sitting in a library as a transgender person reads to them.
Our local libraries here recently came out and defended their drag queen story time. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe I'll show up to one of them in the coming weeks.
I'll just dress as the fat bitch from Mulan and start doing it as a side gig.
Wasn't that a guy though?
I don't know. Maybe. Whoa, dude,
I believe
assuming that fictional character's gender.
I believe the one that was in Mulan was a guy dressing up as a geisha with her. Wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I don't know, but
I'll
I'll do that and I'll
Mulan, right?
Yeah, I'll do that and then I'll read Mein Kampf to them or some shit. I don't know.
Well, the last time I checked in with them, what they were reading was basically, and this is again in Canada, near Toronto, was they're reading stories about how police brutalize and falsely arrest black people. A white drag queen reading to children under the age of like 10 on Facebook during the lockdowns as their drag queen story hour. And sometimes police abuse people based on the color of their skin was basically the gist of it. So a good time had by all, but now they can do it in person again. And
so they have to roll all of their agendas into one. So
that's right. Of course they do. And then my hometown, Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, just developed their own diversity board for their city council, which is great news again. They're looking for volunteers to join that. Maybe I should join. I don't really have the energy for that. I know that when I was just doing YouTube before I started working for Rebel News, I got into the city did like a historical thing where they go and like, we're going to go and promote, we're going to make a documentary of sorts promoting like the most historical things in our city. So it was funny for me to go and do that with them not knowing who I am so that they can later regret it and probably delete it from the documentary and or take it down completely. That was a lot of fun for me. I just did it on like the local hockey team and then something completely innocuous.
Very Canadian of you.
Thank you, Eric. Speaking of Nazis, which you mentioned, Michael, the Ukrainian Nazis. The Ukrainian Nazis are still getting so much support. This is a 16-year-old boxer named Diana Petrenko.
Yeah, the symbol is pretty cool though. They always have the symbols down. They know how to design a symbol, dude.
Hugo Boss designed the Nazi uniforms, I believe. So,
yeah. I remember my friend, a good friend of mine, has a joke about that. He's like, "God damn, the fashion though." They knew how to dress, dude.
This is the wolf's angle. And then the black sun, they've decided that was too black, I guess, and they made it white. This thing here. Both are like the Ukrainian apologists, I'll call them. And of course, nobody supports the killing of innocent people. But the people who are apologists to the Azov battalion say, oh, these are just generic signs that anybody uses. And just because Hitler used them doesn't mean it means the same thing.
Hey man, heritage, not hate, dude. It's heritage, dude.
Yeah, it's the same thing as the swastika, you guys. Everybody knows it for the peace symbol, but these are like known white supremacist symbols that white supremacy and neo-Nazi groups use. Tra-la-la, we move up in the timelines. Early 90s, guy creates neo-Nazi group in Ukraine, gets into politics, decides, this isn't a good look, changes the name of the group. People still think that there's Nazis in it, which there was. Then they say, we've gotten rid of, magically in 2016, when Zelensky's in there, they say we've gotten rid of the guys. They haven't actually, but they say it's okay. They can fight for the National Guard anyways, because, they're vicious fighters, especially when they fight who, of course, Dagestanis, the Muslims, which they have conflict with. And so they let them have a neo-Nazi group in the Ukrainian National Army. And people start pointing this out, and everybody denies it at first until it becomes too big of a story. BBC starts saying, and we reviewed this on this show, BBC said, it's only 2,000 Nazis in the Ukrainian army of the 100,000 or so that are in there. I may not be getting the numbers right on the full size of the National Guard they have there, but there are some Nazis, but they're not very good. Like, they're not very important. There's not many people in the Nazi brigade that are actual Nazis. We've weeded most of it out. It's not a big deal. And now we've gotten to the point where people just say, you know what, they're not actually Nazis. They've changed their symbols. They've stopped using the same symbols as before to prove to you that they're not neo-Nazis. I don't believe it. A lot of people don't believe it. And as you can see, somebody's going to start saying Russian propaganda. And it's so funny. People are so convinced by the TV about supporting a war that they're just like, all of the history doesn't matter anymore. Ukraine's always been a wonderful country, and it just so happens that
it's not a hotbed for corruption at all.
No, there isn't a super corrupt government. They're not in bed with like super corrupt Westerners. Their energy board isn't messed up. And they try to be like, you must be supporting Russia. Like, Russia's messed up too, man. Like, nobody's saying like go Putin go. It's just that if you're gonna be in this, like, it's like Syria. They have a terrible leader, and then people are just like you're not gonna, because you criticize the Syrian leader, you're not gonna be like, well, you must hate Syrians or you must be on ISIS's side, because the Syrian National Party and Al Qaeda, are battling there. And it's like, well, you don't support that. You must support Al Qaeda, you guys, even though like the Syrians were gassing their own people, for example. So it's this really weird thing where people really want to believe what the TV has to say. And before I get on too much of a tangent, that was just a little bit of a lesson or history lesson of recent years. So this woman held up this flag, this young girl, when she won, and you're going to see somebody who's a representative there. If YouTube wants to work, they start coming up to her and just being like, please take that down. Because obviously this international boxing tournament, they don't really want you showing like neo-Nazi imagery. And I think it's kind of sad that that they're using like a 16-year-old girl for their propaganda purposes. Because I don't know if any girl is just going to come up there and bring their offshoot of a flag as opposed to just the Ukrainian flag.
Yeah, why? That's my question. Why would she not just have a Ukrainian flag if that's her thing?
Because the Azov battalion is probably, I don't know. There could be anything. She just supports them on her own. She's 16 years old. Could be possible. Could be that they're putting her up to it and they're funding her. Could be any given reasons. But the sad thing is that this little girl, who I guess is probably a boxing phenom, is being used in this way, or is believing in this just because they're like, they're good fighters and they're fighting Russia, so they can't be bad. You know what I mean?
Well, also, there's that story. I had to pull it up here from Salon. Are there really, this is from March 10th, 2022. Are there really neo-Nazis fighting for Ukraine? Well, yes, but it's a long story. So this is what they do is they want to, there's so much nuance when it comes to their representatives, right? Like we can talk about they want to split hairs on everything. Well, drag isn't sexual; it can be for kids. But anybody who ever owned a red hat, on the other hand, is automatically a racist, automatically a Nazi. You can't. There's no splitting hairs there. But when it comes to our side of the fence, well, there's a lot of nuance here, and it's a long story, and you really got to see. And I will say this though. I've been, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that has just been completely jaded on the term Nazi. It's like, dude, I can't believe any of you now. So I don't even know if these guys, I don't know the history about it. I don't know if they're Nazis or not, but it's just like, you guys have beat the term into a absolute paste here in the States with, I mean, there was they called Larry Elder the blackface of white supremacy. So it's like, well, I don't trust any of you guys to even use these. And this is another thing that they do is they redefine words all over the place. Most recently, the one that comes to mind, I guess I shouldn't say redefine in this particular sense, but this is a similar situation that they do all the time, is like they talk about gender affirming care, which is the peak. It's just the peak of dystopian doublespeak. Gender affirming care, like, you mean you want to tell some gender affirming care in a sane world should just mean you tell them the truth about, you know, the birds and the bees, and you help them work through their mental issues. You don't pump them full of hormones and mutilate their bodies.
See
But
how
for
it plays
them,
out.
exactly. So this is what they do. So unfortunately, the term Nazi is already just too jaded. I'm like, well, I don't even trust anybody. Like,
So
I
many
can look into
things-
the history.
So many things can make you a Nazi nowadays. Anything can make you a Nazi. If you're different, if you're different from me, you're the Nazi. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So I don't know what to believe now. I think I thought we had kind of gotten over this Ukraine. We did the World War III thing for a little bit. Then we had to switch to baby formula, which is still going on, but it's not in the news anymore. And now we're back at January 6th. We're doing a little bit of monkeypox sprinkled in there. So
Yeah, I didn't
really
even
don't
hear
know.
that. I didn't even understand. I didn't even understand the monkeypox thing. Like, how do you get it? I thought monkeypox, like, if you get monkeypox, it sounds like you get it from fucking a monkey, which is AIDS. That we already have that.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a type of pox. My friend, who I disagree with a lot, is also a medic, like a paramedic, so he knows a lot about stuff like this. It's a type of pox, so it's similar to smallpox, he says, but you do get it through sexual contact, which is why they didn't want people talking about it like it was gotten predominantly by gays, which it is. But that's like the same like narrative as AIDS. They didn't want people comparing it to that. And then somehow
that's where my
changing the
brain.
name.
Well, yeah, that's where my brain goes. Why would you call it monkeypox? You got to change it to.
but then the WHO for some reason comes out and
What would
says
you
this is
call it?
racist.
Anal
We don't want it
pox?
to be called. They don't
Anal
want it to be
pox?
called monkey. I don't know why. It sounds pretty racist to me from them.
Butt fuck pox.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I got the,
Well,
I got
last
the
thing on
pox
you-
right on the base of my cock, dude. Oh no.
Last thing, we're all getting fired after this.
And the
last
CDC, for the
thing-
record, just they did the WHO renamed it, but the CDC also dropped their guidelines a couple days ago for how to have sex while you do have monkeypox. So they told us all that we couldn't even go outside. You can't go to work because Rona. But now they're saying, well, if you have monkeypox, here's what you should do.
Well, Eric, it was 6 feet apart. They didn't want you to actually touch each other, though.
Yeah, just tantric fucking.
Yeah. Okay.
Just energy fucking.
Demolition
So they didn't
Man.
want to shut any. They didn't want to shut any of that down. They shut the entire world down basically for Rona. But now that monkeypox is here, and we know predominantly how it is acquired, contracted, then they're saying, well, you don't have to really stop. You can just like jerk off on the same bed, but sit at opposite ends, and that'll do the trick.
Well, the last thing about Ukraine was like how, again, super corrupt country, for better or for worse, usually worse. They've got neo-Nazi parties all the way up to like the year 2000. Then they're known to have neo-Nazi groups all the way up till 2016. Then they're just like, oh, it's just a part of it. It's a small military group. And then it's just a few of them within the group. And then, they're not actually in the group all of a sudden at the same time, where the U.S. is supporting this war. It's just like, come on, like are we just gonna be like, oh, Russia doesn't want the Crimean Sea? They're just checking it out. They're just researching it. It has nothing to do with like they don't want to gain back any of their land. It's just convenient time just for trade, and they really want to boost the economies of Belarus and stuff like that. It's like how
Putin's price
like
hike.
the propaganda really gets into, and yeah, Putin's really upped the prices of gas. It's Putin's fault, even though we buy very little gas. Canada buys no gas from them. Don't pay attention to Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's a good time.
Brother.
Is there anything we want to do a little sort of thing here where we get a minute rants in? Call it the unauthorized.
Do we have no more
rant?
stories? I feel like we
have
because
Virginia
we're
man
running out of time.
Yeah, Virginia man arrested on charges of stealing gas from stations, selling it at
that
a
was
discount.
here. That was here. That's where I'm from.
Oh,
that
you
was
wanna talk
exactly
about
where
that?
I'm from. Yeah, that was exactly where I was from. Open it again.
Tell me about
What
this.
city
I haven't
was
heard
that?
this.
Scroll down. I think it was Virginia Beach. I think it was yeah. Fucking Virginia Beach police
arrested Rashane Griffith, Devin Drumgoole.
It's so funny. I was we have a local news called Wavy TV 10, and the comment section there was like, it's funny because these kids were selling the gas for the cost of gas a year ago. So we were already paying what they were selling it for, and everyone was like, yeah. Like, honestly, dude, I think, dude, there's no way, like, if there was a jury there's no way that those people would be found guilty at all. Those are like the Robin Hoods of my hometown right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's like super hyped for those guys, even though it's like, okay. I mean, everyone in the comment section was like, all right, how do they do it though? What's the app? What's the app? Where I download the app for that one? I'm trying to give me some of that gas from a year and a half ago. You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to give me some of that $2.56 a gallon. Does Canada charge by the liter? Does Canada charge by the liter?
Yes, we do charge by the liter.
Holy fucking shit! That's like Japan and fucking everywhere else.
Well, it's not the same prices. You guys still have more. There's like online calculators for the conversions out there. You guys still have.
Japan, it was like $8 a gallon in 2004. When I lived in Japan, it was like 2004 to 2006. It was like $8 a gallon. I remember doing the math. I was like,
insane.
holy fucking shit. Well, it's also smaller and the infrastructure is better, and the cars
way
are more
far
fuel
away
efficient.
from people producing.
Yeah. And I'd imagine it's
probably
harder to get gas over there. So all right, again, it makes sense. But it's like, dude, it's literally like I don't understand it. I'm literally just paying money to fucking live. I'm paying.
Ours has gone up about 80 cents
to work
in the last 6 months.
We went from like 3 something, which we were like, all right, this is getting a little crazy. 326. Oh yeah. Now it's $4.99. And I bought a V6 truck. I bought a little Toyota Tacoma. And in the beginning, it was like $60. It was $60.
Like,
and I was like,
a cultural rite of passage when you buy a Toyota.
Yes, so yeah, you get a Toyota Tacoma. I'm a Filipino, so when you get a Tacoma, that's a big deal. Like, I'm actually Filipino now. I've just been a white guy cosplaying as an Asian person all these years, and then I got this Toyota Tacoma, and now I'm like, oh yes, I'm a Filipino that lives in Virginia Beach, and I drive a Tacoma. I am all the stereotypes in one now.
The two stole $14,000 worth of gas.
Yeah, they were fucking hacking the pumps and just bucking that shit and then flipping it on the street. Real Pusha T clip style. You know what I'm saying? Flipping that gas.
What's interesting is the only profits they're making are pretty much the exact same margin of additional profit that the gas companies are making right now.
Dude, I'm just trying to support black-owned business, dude. I'm trying to support.
And really what they're doing is buying it and selling it secondhand. And it's just interesting when people take the side of the government or gigantic businesses on this. It's like only the government can say when you can do this stuff. Only the government can lock you down.
Yeah, why do
only the gas?
Why do we simp for the power structure so much? Why is it like
I don't know.
You're in more connection. You're closer to those kids stealing that gas out of the pump than you are to the guy who's deciding how much it costs. So why do you simp for him? It's like we have a lot of tattletales in our fucking society. Like, why the fuck would that even matter? Like, yeah, it sucks for the guy who owns the business and, the gas or whatever. But also, like, why the fuck is he? Why the fuck why do they dictate how much money that we get to keep? It's just always another way. I've had my job for the last 2 years, and I got from the time I started to now, I've gotten over $20,000 more a year. And every time I've gotten a fucking raise, my raise has adjusted per the economic climate. So like I was doing like all right, and then it was starting to get hard. I got my raise. It was good for like 2 or 3 months, and then we got the inflation, and then I was like, fuck, dude, it's not even like I got a raise. It's just like I got adjusted per how much everything costs now. This sucks. I need another fucking raise. So I bitched and was like, I need another raise. They gave me another raise. Boom. Everything was cool for about 2 or 3 months. And now there's this fucking gas thing. And I'm just like, dude, fuck it. I'm just going to quit this job and move to Texas and be homeless. Just be a ballin' ass homeless dude. I have a truck I can sleep in. Like, I'm going to be set up better. It's just crazy to me. Like, because when I was in Austin, that's a major city. The gas in Austin is cheaper than fucking what we got over here. So that's even more of a deterrent. Like, I don't even want to be in this fucking city anymore. We have all the costs. Here's the thing about Virginia. We have all the cost of, like, Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area where I'm from. We have all the cost of a major city, but none of the attractions. We have all the traffic of a major city, but none of the attractions. And then we're like 3 hours away from DC. So you're basically paying to live in this expensive ass place, and you're at risk of just dying at any moment. Like, like if we're getting bombed, it's here. Like, why would you want to live here? If anything, it should be super cheap to live here because of the risk that you have to take. And you just have property taxes on fucking everything. You have to pay property taxes on your car. You have to pay property taxes on your house. You have to pay these stupid ass fucking gas prices. Weed is just now legalized from our previous governor, who was a Democrat, and weed's decriminalized here, which is so fucking weird to me. It doesn't matter. Like, you can't keep me here any longer. I don't know. I fucking hate Virginia. I hate it so much. I've been here majority of my life. I lived in Japan for 2 years, and then I realized, I don't know why we simp for America so much. We love America so much, but I literally spent 2 years somewhere else, and I'm like, yeah, they got it figured out. They fucking, you know what I mean? They fix fucking sinkholes in a month.
Yeah, maybe I should go to Japan.
Dude, Japan would be dope.
The problem is the people running stuff don't actually care about making things better, and hopefully that'll change.
In fact, I'd say their goal is to actually make things worse, bro. Like, this is a managed decline. Like, there's of course
so
they don't.
They can make more money.
Yeah, and I just want to say really quick. This story reminds me of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, when the guys try to get a loan to buy gasoline, and they have the chart, and he's like, "These are the gas prices this year. These are what the gas prices will be next year. So we need you to give us a shit ton of money so we can buy a shit ton of gasoline and sell it next year at a profit."
They'd be smart. The problem is gasoline expires, so you only have like that 1 year to sell it. But still,
I miss that COVID gas.
Yeah,
Michael was talking about people narking on people. This just happened, I think, today. Hey, United Airlines, why are you breaking the law? Masks are required on all flights out of Canada. Your flight attendant isn't wearing one. Here's the flight number. And then he just goes off on being like,
she's kind of
Canada's
cute.
not the USA. In Chicago now, had a friendly chat with the flight attendant, found she's blameless because United misinforms its crew. What the F, United? Follow the law.
Good. I like them. They're good.
Apparently they're not wearing masks, and this guy.
This guy is triggered.
That's fly
absolutely
2 hours from Toronto to Chicago or Ottawa to Chicago with a woman who's not wearing a mask. That piece of shit.
Dude, it doesn't matter. Airplanes are fucking disgusting no matter what, dude.
They have the filters. That's why they're actually safer than a regular indoor place for COVID, because they have these insane air filters and recirculating the air so much.
That's fake news.
That's why there's never been a COVID case caught on an airplane, just like there hasn't been outside. But this guy
has a mask built into the AC.
It's just a big mask over top of the vent.
It's in it. The filter is the mask, dude. Stop being a pussy. I don't know. I've gotten COVID 4 fucking times, and I'm unvaccinated. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm still standing strong. I don't give a fuck, dude. I don't give a fuck. I never. In the beginning, I was scared of it, but that was because there was some merit to it because it was new. You're like, I don't know. Everybody's talking about it, and that's when nobody was wearing masks. I would bring like a full blown paint respirator to the fucking grocery store. Just
that makes more sense than what people are just wearing.
That's what. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And those things were out of stock. Like, I work in the body shop industry, so you actually need that in my job because we're breathing in fucking chemicals and shit all day long. Even if you're not working on the shit, it's still in the air, so it'd be nice to have them. And we couldn't buy them, so you had people like actually at risk, fucking without the masks on, that actually need them, and then you have people just buying them for this little thing. I don't know, man. Everybody reacted to it differently. My dad's 72 years old and he never got fucking COVID. I don't know. He's got that boomer blood.
I don't even get sick, bro. I haven't been sick since had a hangover in college. Like,
Dude, I got it. It's bad.
never
It's
get
fucking
sick. I
bad,
never
dude.
get
Each time was bad, but it's like you can brush it off
I'm
if you're not a
immune to
bitch.
everything.
You can brush it off.
Look, man, black don't crack, bro. I'm good. Like, I'm
I
good.
have that jungle
Like,
Asian blood. We eat with our
Dude,
fingers. I come from a long line of finger eaters. So it's like
I
dude,
come
New
from a
York was
line of
supposed to be so dangerous.
poutine eaters. My people make poutines. We play related sports.
Ice hockey.
stuff
Yeah.
like
and they're always out in the cold. Yeah, those people are always out in the cold. So probably have good respiratory systems. You got to think about that. You're fighting off infection and shit.
But how was I at the epicenter where in this super densely populated 8 million person city, taking the train all around? Like, dude, I just
You must be Magic Johnson or something.
it was just in my brain because that testing facility opened up, and I was like, I mentally was like, I don't buy this. So I think I just
Your body didn't allow you to get sick.
It didn't
believe it.
Once I saw those traffic cones in that empty testing facility, and actually more than half a dozen, like a dozen National Guard troops and half a dozen 20-somethings wearing orange vests jamming Q-tips up people's noses, even though you would maybe, and I camped out there, like I couldn't go to work. It was 2 blocks away from my house. So I would just go there. We became quote unquote friends. But after seeing the I don't know if it's a money grab or money laundering or whatever, but after seeing that, I was like, no, dog, like there's no way. You're going to tell me, they told me, and I'm sure, I don't know, it's very old footage now, but they told me on the very first day, April 10th, 2020, that the day it opened, they couldn't test anybody because it was too windy. I'm like, dude, you guys got National Guard troops out here. You got National Guard troops out here, and nobody can figure out how to secure a tent. Nobody can figure out how to secure a tent.
To be fair, National Guard and reservists are rather useless. And I can say that because I was in the military.
Fine. And
part-timers have no idea what they're doing.
The last thing I promise, and this is why I never could buy into it. When they told me on a rainy summer day in New York City that they couldn't test anybody because they were afraid of lightning, they essentially admitted that it was more likely that they were going to be struck by lightning than saving the black and brown communities in Flatbush, Brooklyn. And I'm like, no, dog, I can't do it, dog. No way.
All right. Anything else you want to say, Michael Ridley, before we say our goodbyes?
I don't know, man. There's probably a reason. There's probably a reason why they're not going to release that information for about 50 years about the vaccines. So I'm just going to see what happens in 50 years. I'm going to, as to this day, I remain unvaccinated. So we're just going to see how it plays out. I'm pretty sure they know. People. I'm pretty sure they know, like within that 50-year period, all the people who did get vaccinated will be dead. And that's when they'll conveniently release the data. YouTube. Sorry, I don't know, dude. You could just delete me as a person.
No, it's live if you didn't notice. Say goodbye to our YouTube channels. Michael,
you got to prompt me. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I'm like an idiot. I'm kind of retarded, anyways. Just a fat Asian idiot. I'm not like the only dumb Asian. Don't believe anything I say. I'm a comedian. Everything I say is a work of fiction, and nothing should be held legally liable. It's all fiction. That's why I like comedy. We can always throw over that, like, well, I mean, it's fiction, so you should.
This is listed as a comedy podcast on.
You heard Spotify, that, Susan? Susan Wojcicki? You heard that? Yeah, don't take that out of context, Susan.
Follow Michael Ridley on Instagram at Chinky Sweat.
Oh my god, yes, dude. There you go. I give you the pass every time. If you're
I never said it, so it was just a voiceover. Eric Butler at Opine and TatumReport.com, and myself, Andrew Says, and Andrew Does on Instagram, as well as rebelnews.com/Andrew Says. You can just go to AndrewSaysTV.com. Thank you for listening on Spotify and Apple and Google if people listen to podcasts on that. I never would. But thank you if you do. And YouTube and Getter live streaming show to you guys. And of course,
and your
Twitter
Twitch
audience.
Your Twitch viewers.
The 0 Twitch viewers. We get most of the viewers on Twitter, the few thousand. So thank you guys for watching. I'm sweating here. We're going to be back to do our other video. And thank you again, Michael, for coming. We appreciate
thank you
we
so
love
much
you.
for having me, man. Thank you. I always
let me know when let me know when I can exploit you as a Texan instead of a Virginian.
Oh yeah, I'm ready to go.
So you're
All
going
right,
to
take
Texas.
it
You guys
easy.
are both going to Texas. I might go to Atlanta.
Hopefully, I don't know.
All right.
I've always been a Texan, low key. I'm glad.
I've always been a Malaysian, low key.
Turn it up, Jordan.